A couple of years ago, I realized the biggest mistake I made when I started playing golf is that I did not focus on putting enough. As I was trying to strive to become a single handicap player, I was focusing on hitting the ball off the tee, hitting approach shots, and of course, those are all really important things, but to get down to those single handicap levels, I truly realized that I had to start improving my putting. So a couple years ago, I shifted my focus to just becoming a better putter and put together really a 4-step process that I follow when I line up my putts that helps me to putt as much as possible. Single handicap players, and if you're a mid-handicapper right now who is striving to become a single handicapper, the easiest way to accomplish that is going to be to shave the number of putts you take per round. So I want to talk through that 4-step sequence that I use. And keep in mind, while I'm doing this with keeping pace of play in mind. Again, if you're new to the channel, I'm Russ from Golf Plays Russ. If you want to get more golf tips from me, definitely hit the subscribe button. Turn on the notification bell so you get an alert when I make future videos. The first and most important fundamental of putting is distance control. Knowing that distance and getting a feel for the distance, especially of that first putt, I think is so important. Single handicap players rarely 3-putt, so that first putt is so important. When I come up to the green, generally I'm gonna come up, mark my ball, and the first thing I'm gonna do is step off how many steps I have between myself in the hole. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a couple ways of going about this. For me, I always take my steps and calculate it in feet. What I know is every one of my steps, and I'm a little bit shorter, equals about 2.7 feet or 9/10 of a yard. Every step I take is just a little bit less than 3 feet. This is 6 steps. I know that this putt is in that 16 to 17 foot range. There's something about walking off the distance of the putt that just kind of ingrains that distance in your head. For me, it really helps me get a feel for the distance control. The second step of this process is me really examining what's gonna happen over the course of the last 5 feet of the putt. As the ball slows, the break of the green is gonna have more influence on the direction that the putt goes. I can do that right after I walk off my steps. I'll generally take my steps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I know I've got about 16, 17 feet. If I was hitting it from here, yeah, I think it's gonna break a cup or two to the left. Step number 3 in this process, really simple, lining up the ball with your target direction. Most golf ball manufacturers put markings on the ball that allow you to align with your target line. Pretty simple. In this case, I got a max fly, soft fly, and I'm gonna pick my target line based on the amount of break that I saw in the putt. In this case, I'm aiming this putt about 18 inches on the outside of the hole, but I'm gonna use that line that's gonna aid me knowing what direction I wanna hit the putt, even when I can't see the hole. So as I'm looking over the ball, I can't see the hole. With the lines on the ball, I know exactly the line I want to hit it with, and I've put it there because I've also calculated what's gonna happen over the course of the last 5 feet of the putt. The last fundamental in this process is follow through. And with follow through, the intent here is to ensure that as you follow through the putt, you are pushing the putter along the desired target line. You are essentially following the lines that you lined up on the ball along the target line that you set. And in doing so, what I generally like to do and how I hit my putts, I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but my rule of thumb when putting is to go 1/3 back and 2/3 through. 1/3 back and 2/3 through. What 1/3 back and 2/3 through allows me to do is just ensure that the putter is following through along the target line. That helps me get my ball started on the target line on a more consistent basis. So now that we've went through the 4 steps, distance, last 5 feet, target line, and follow through, let's see how we do on this 17-footer that's breaking about 1.5 feet right to left. So I left that one considerably short. I think had I hit it a little bit harder, I definitely would have had the line on that. But establishing this routine before you hit your putts It doesn't take a lot of time, but it's important to really kind of ingrain the distance in your head, really think about what the putt's gonna do over the course of the last 5 feet, and that's gonna help you minimize 3 putts. Now, I promised at the end of this video, I was gonna give you 2 bonus tips that I recommend to help you improve your putting. And the first one, without a doubt, is routine. Good putters have a routine that they use every time that they approach the ball. And it doesn't matter if that putt is being taken at 5 feet or it's being taken at 50 feet, the routine is the same. For me, when I approach the ball, what I'm gonna do is take 2 practice strokes. And what's important about my practice strokes is that I'm focusing on following through to the target line and using the same tempo that I intend to hit the shot with. I see a lot of mid and upper handicap golfers who will go approach their ball and take a practice stroke when they're putting, but the problem is they're not replicating the club action that they would actually use to make the putt. They'll maybe step up and take some type of long stroke at the ball, or it may be a really fast tempo. I think if you're gonna take a practice stroke that replicates what you're trying to do exactly when you make the putt. The second major tip that I'm gonna leave you with is focus on hitting the center of the club face. Distance control is going to go right out the window if you cannot consistently hit the center of the club face with the putter. The biggest error that I see a lot of high handicappers make is that they actually hit the ball too low on the ball because the club is almost brushing the putter grass. And that's not correct. When you make contact with a putt, you want the putter, the bottom of the putter, to actually be about a ½ inch above the ground on average. Hitting the center of the club face on a consistent basis is going to allow you to maintain a consistent speed. And soon you're gonna have a feel for what your 30-foot putt feels like, your 20-foot putt feels like, and your 10-foot putt feels like, simply because you're consistently hitting the center of the club face. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Putting is the #1 factor that has taken me from a 15 handicap player a few years ago down to a 7 handicap player now. And quite frankly, that's what gives me an edge over the friends I play with on the weekends, and what really gives me an edge when we're playing as a group in a scramble. Guys, thanks for watching the video. We'll catch you out on the next one.